is to the top. Guam's commercial port is to the right. This is Polaris Point, where we have submarines home port. We have 3 attack submarines, and this is also the future home of the carriers in Polaris Point. Inside the inner harbor, logistic ships go to X-ray. Marine carrying ships go to Victor, and we have the high-speed vessels and destroyers and escorts at Sierra Wharf. One of the projects we're doing is the Navy has a military working dog facility near the pier. And dogs don't like noise, so when the Marines come, there will be a lot of destruction. So we'll be moving the working dog facility away from the piers. The Japanese is also funding a medical clinic. So there's going to be a medical clinic somewhere here on base. Next slide, please. Operationally, the Marines are organized as a MANTAF, Marine Air Ground Task Force. So whether it's division-size Marine Expeditionary Force led by a 3-star general, or a battalion-size Marine Expeditionary Unit led by a colonel, the MANTAF will always have a command element, the headquarters. They will have a ground combat element, the infantry guys. And they will have the combat support element, the logistics folks. And finally, the aviation combat element, the ACE. For Guam, the Marines will be relocating a squadron of helicopters. And so we will be needing runway spaces, hangar spaces, and administrative and support buildings, and so on. Slide. You have probably heard the saying that every Marine is a rifleman. Whether you're a cook, a driver, a computer operator, a Marine is expected to be familiar with their weapons. So we will be building them firing ranges. Small arms only, no artillery or mortar. And the highest is the high explosive dual purpose grenade launchers and 50 caliber machine guns. There will also be non-firing training ranges where we'll have gas chamber training, convoy operations, urban warfare training, and so on. Next slide, please. And so while the focus is in Guam, training-related activities are also being planned for the CNMI, specifically Tinian. In our program alone, we are planning to build 4 firing ranges, again small arms, rifles and pistols, and it will be expeditionary, meaning that the Marines will bring all their equipment, camp out, and then remove all the equipment once the training is done. Tinian is about 100 miles from Guam, or about 160 kilometers. Next slide. Now shifting to the other proposed action is the building of the pier for the carrier. The nuclear-powered carrier is the largest ship in the Navy's fleet and is manned by about 5,600 personnel. And is accompanied by aircraft and escort ships. And collectively, they are called the Carrier Strike Group, or CSG. In 2008, we had 4 visits from the carriers, each lasting 4 days. In our proposed action, carriers will be visiting Guam for about 63 days a year, each visit lasting 21 days or less. Before, carriers would go to Kilo Wharf, which is our ammunition pier, somewhere out in the outer harbor. The extended stay of the carriers then will disrupt the munitions operation, so we will have to build a carrier, and the preferred location is at Polaris Point. Next slide, please. The number of countries with ballistic missile defense capabilities is increasing. Such weapon systems can deliver conventional, nuclear, chemical, biological weapons. The purpose of the Army and Air Missile Defense Task Force is to protect the territory of Guam, its citizens, and the U.S. military forces assigned in Guam. The actual Army headquarters will be co-located with the Marines in NCTS Tinagayan. The actual weapon sensors and weapons will be at the Northwest Field up in Anderson Air Force Base. Next slide. Okay, as required by the National Environmental Protection Act, or NEPA, we are required to evaluate the impact of our program to Guam and the CNMI. And because our program is a major tasking, our analysis is at the highest category, which is the environmental impact statement. When we published our notice of intent 3 years ago, we received about 900 comments. And what we did is we categorized those comments into groups, general categories like natural resources and cultural resources and public safety. After a few months delay, we finally published the draft EIS in November 2009. And that started a 90-day comment period, which ended just a few days ago. We will review all the comments, add the comments to our final EIS, determine what needs to be addressed before it's completed. We aim to get the final EIS completed by June of 2010. There's a required 30-day public review, and then the Assistant Secretary of the Navy for Installation and Environment will be making a decision on the EIS, and that's what we call Record of Decision. And that's sometime in August of 2010. We expect to award the contracts shortly after that and begin construction sometime in September. Next one. This is our timeline. As you can see, we began the construction design planning last year and will continue for the next 2 years. I want to point out that we still aim to get our program completed by 2014, but that is tied to significant progress on the potential replacement facility in Okinawa. But I also want to point out the bottom part of the slide. Beyond our program, there are also projects by the Navy, the Air Force, and the Army National Guard. For 2010, we are building a new naval hospital, a submarine learning center, totaling about $434 billion. Next slide. Japan is spending about $30 billion to relocate U.S. and Japanese forces in the Pacific, including the relocation of Marines from Okinawa to Guam. For the Guam relocation, the U.S. and Japanese governments will be spending roughly $10.27 billion.